this is amazing. Welcome to the GTX 2021 Geothermal Datathon Kickoff event. There are people joining us from Europe, Poland, the UK, and so on. So we will not keep you folks up any longer. So let's get going. So I'm David Shackleton. I'm one of the organizers of this event. So I'm joining from Banff, just outside of Calgary, which for over 10,000 years since the glaciers of the last ice age retreated, has been a sacred place for ceremony, trade, sharing visions and celebration. It's also a place where people enjoy the geothermal hot springs, now found at the Banff Springs Hotel and the Upper Hot Springs, and where local nature thrives in Earth's hot water. We, like Calgary, are on the traditional lands of the Treaty 7 territory, comprised of the Stoney Nakoda nations of the Wesley, Chiniki, and Bearspaw, three nations of the Blackfoot Confederacy, the Piikani, Kiani, and Siksika, and the Tsuut'ina of the Dene Nation. Treaty 7 territory is also shared with the Métis Nation of Alberta Region 3. We acknowledge the past, present, and future generations of these nations who help steward this land, as well as honor and celebrate this place. Let's just run through the agenda and then we'll get started. We'll cover now who put this event together and why you're here and why we put this event together. We'll talk about the data camp opportunity for learning. We'll run through the schedule of the whole event. We'll listen to a survivor of the last Datathon, the Duck Datathon, which was held last year. Then we'll learn a bit more about the data set that we've got together and the problem statement, and of course the rules of the game. We've put together a little survival guide for you, and we've got a great keynote speaker here with us today, Sheldon Wall, who's a big fan of this event. And then we'll have some Q&A and a bit of a hangout at the end if you're still with us. Hopefully you will be. Feel free to chat in the chat box, ask any questions about the event in the Q&A box. Feel free to use social media. Please use social media to let people know what you're up to and what you think about this event, or reach out to us directly, personally. So first, so who put this event together? We're going to learn from the three main parties that put this together, the Calgary SPE Section, Untapped Energy, and the SPE Gulf Coast Section. Also, we had some support from the Permian Basin SPE Section, so many thanks to them for helping to support this event, and hopefully future Datathons will open it up to other SPE sections as time goes on. So first, let's hear from Volo.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm absolutely excited to see so many different geographies being represented at our opening event. I was just reading through the chat, and just based on my quick glance, I managed to catch Calgary, Edmonton, Saskatchewan, Austin, Houston, California, Wisconsin, Germany, Poland, Mexico, Colombia, and Ecuador. And I'm sure there is many more. So we're absolutely excited to put this event together. We had our first Datathon back in 2020, and then in 2021, we got joined by our friends from Gulf Coast Section and our trusted partner, Untapped Energy, to put this event together. We also would like to thank Permian Basin Section, who helped us through the process, as well as with organization of this event. We really hope you'll enjoy it, and I think it's absolutely fantastic time with our oil and gas experience, start looking into geothermal energy. I think that's just a perfect match.
Hi everyone, I'm Tim Chan, and I'm one of the co-founders of Untapped Energy, which is a nonprofit that provides various support services for the data practitioner community, primarily in Calgary, but also further into Alberta, and as we're seeing beyond. And so we do this through monthly meetups, but we also organize data events for our members as well, which include workshops, project development initiatives, and things like this, Datathons. So we first connected with the Society of Petroleum Engineers, so SPE, last year, as Volo had mentioned, for the 2020 Duck Datathon. And so we're delighted to expand this further for the GTX 2021 Geothermal Datathon. And especially during a time of social distancing and isolation, we know that this pandemic has been difficult, and its effect on the economy has been especially cruel on those working in the oil and gas industry. This is a sector that many of Untapped Energy's members are here. So we're so delighted to be able to organize an event like this that brings people together, and as Volo has mentioned, from all reaches of the earth. So we're so glad that you're here. We're so glad to be able to support those that are going through various phases of being affected. And so as part of this event, there is a scholarship available. So for anyone who is looking to join the event, but maybe because of circumstances cannot, there is a scholarship available through Untapped Energy. So there'll be more details about that later, but why don't we move on and with a warm welcome, and I'd like to now pass it on to Sarath.
Thanks, Tim and Volo. You guys have eloquently put together the beauty of this competition and the ability to have people from all across the world. And I couldn't be more excited to find a better partner than Untapped Energy and SPE Calgary Section. So who are we? SPE Gulf Coast Section. We are a group based in Houston, and we serve the Gulf Coast area. A group of 25 volunteers who all use our time together to put together events like these in our time outside of work. So bear in mind, we all have full-time jobs, and this is on top of our full-time jobs. We do put in these volunteer hours to benefit the society and to benefit the members back. And this specific event is so timely that we are able to put it together. And you'll see more about the intent of why we put it together and how does the event mechanics work. We just concluded our machine learning challenge in March, and we had an overwhelmingly positive response. And we wanted to continue the momentum with partnering with Untapped Energy and Calgary Section. As you can see, different people have been responsible for putting all of this together. So once again, I'm excited for the journey you're all going to be coming with us together.
Hey, thank you, David, Volo, Sarath, and Tim. So I'm James Ng. I'm one of the organizers joining from Calgary, Alberta. And I'd like to thank everyone for attending this kickoff event. So basically the question is, why are we all here? Well, while each of us has our own reasons, something everyone here shares is a growth mindset and the motivation to learn and apply new skills to try and solve interesting and also challenging problems. So to help facilitate this, the Datathon has been set up to provide some key opportunities. The first is a chance to work on a real industry data set, which gives exposure to all the associated challenges one might encounter on the job. A second reason is a data science application with real potential business value. And the third, well, this is perhaps the most important, is an opportunity to work in a team environment. The teamwork aspect is critical when thinking about the diverse set of skills required to not only deliver a solution, but to communicate the results in an effective way. So for example, in the context of this Datathon, participants will need to work together and leverage each other's skill sets in different areas. So another reason is the opportunity to showcase results and demonstrate abilities while getting feedback and access to experts in different fields. All of this makes for a great addition to a data science portfolio. Of course, there are other incentives such as prizes, competing, and winning, but most importantly is to have fun. However, what sets this event apart from other hackathon type of events, that is, the key differentiator of the GTX 2021, is the opportunity to learn. So to talk about this, I'm going to pass it over to Tim Chan.
If you were to just take a look at all of the learning opportunities that we have in this event, you'll find that there's incredible value of being able to join this. There are 10 hours of instructor-led boot camps. We have all sorts of workshops. You'll get to access DataCamp's world-class learning platform. We'll talk a little bit more about that in 1 second. You have access to data science platforms, and if you're a student, you also get to access their Spotfire visualization tool for free for a year. So when we were putting together this event, one of the key pillars was around learning and development. And so we were so delighted that even just by joining the event, you'll have access to all of this, even before you get to the actual competition itself. But learning is good, Learning with purpose is even better. So as we get closer to when we kick off the competition, well, that represents an opportunity for you to take all the new things that you just learned and apply it in a very practical manner. And so that's when we have our competitions. And if we go to the next slide, I want to highlight one very important part of this learning journey for us, and that is our partnership with DataCamp. Now, for those of you who may not be aware, DataCamp is a world-class data science e-learning platform, and they've got over 350 courses that are self-paced and available. Now, the value of an access like this is typically $400, but it is included as part of your registration for this event. And in addition to providing premium access to the DataCamp learning platform, DataCamp, in their wonderful support of us, have worked with us to build a curriculum of curated data science courses that will provide all participants with structured data science learning pathways in key areas, which will supplement the boot camps that you're about to hear, and also make this one of the best learning and development events that are available. In addition to that, there is a learning competition. We know that everybody likes to be able to show just exactly what they're capable of doing. So DataCamp has generously provided the chance to win a year-long subscription to their premium platform. We actually have 2 of them. So the winners of these amazing prizes will have completed the most number of courses. There are more details about what you have to do when you register, but this alone itself is worth the price of admission.
Hi everyone, and thank you all for being with us today. I'm Karang Mudarisi, one of the organizers and the planning team for this event. It's been a pleasure to actually being here with you and working with you all as well. My colleagues and friends talked about all these challenges and learnings and excitements that we're going to experience in this event. And you all be busy preparing and participating to this challenge, but there are some key dates that we wish you guys everybody to be aware of during this competition. So let's just and that starts first with the kickoff, which is today, April 20th. I hope everybody was able to make it. And tomorrow, April 21st, we have our boot camps program started. It includes mini courses and workshops and presentations, and we're going to go through the details with you all as well. Boot camp continues till 24th of May. Also, the registration for the competition will close on May 24th. So that's an important date to remember, please. And be aware that if you wish to be a participant in this competition, you need to complete your registrations by the deadline, which is 11 p.m. Mountain Time or midnight Central Time. On 25th of May, competition starts, and all the registrations need to be completed by then. It continues till June 15th when the competition closes, and by then teams need to have their presentations, the final presentations uploaded to the Microsoft team to start the judging process. On 25th of June is our closing ceremony, where our judges will reveal the results, and of course the prizes for the winning team will be presented. Tentatively, also just keep in mind that July 8th, there's a opportunity for winning team of the competition to actually being able to have their presentations in the data science convention, which will be hosted by GCS as well. GCS is the Gulf Coast section of the SPE. This is for further updates, and we'll be keeping you posted. Thank you all very much. And now I hand it off to Louisa. She's our bootcamp lead, bootcamp program lead, and she's going to go through the details with you. Thank you.
Thanks, Coran. Hi, everyone. My name is Luisa Porras. I'm one of the organizers from Calgary, Alberta. As Coran mentioned, I'm going to talk about the learning component of this event. The purpose of these bootcamps is to provide an opportunity to learn or reinforce new skills that are important in the data science field. In addition, these bootcamps are structured in a manner that is directly applicable to the data science competition. Participants will have the opportunity to directly apply new skills from the bootcamps to a live data science project. Thanks to all our Python instructors and sponsors, we will be providing a total of 12 bootcamps from April 21st to May 24. We will be offering 6 bootcamps related to machine learning in Python, 1 bootcamp in geothermal, a data camp onboarding session, 2 bootcamps by Integra, and 3 non-technical workshops. So here in this slide, I have the schedule of the bootcamps. All of them are going to be recorded and loaded them into our YouTube channel so you can watch them at any time. Additionally, the Python code used during the sessions will be published in our GitHub account. We're going to keep communication between participants, instructors, and organizers through our Slack channel, and we will be providing the links to the communication channels in the survival guide. If possible, I encourage you to attend our bootcamps live. Tomorrow we have the first session on geothermal at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. And now I'm going to hand it over to Dominic, who will be talking about the Hangouts opportunities.
So oftentimes we know that, through the data science process can be a little arduous with bootcamps and having to learn and having to do the competitions. So the Hangouts is provided as a relaxed space where people can come together, get to meet someone new, have a new conversation. And given the composition of people here from so many countries, I am looking forward to seeing some inter-country teams, perhaps. So we plan to have 3 Hangout sessions. There will be a Hangout at the end of this event, just an informal get to know people. The first Hangout session will be on May 20th, shortly before the competition kicks off. And again, you can get to talk to people, maybe make teams, or just have a relaxed space. And then we would have one on June 10th and the last one on June 25th. So there will be 3 Hangout sessions, plus the one today, if you can stay till the end of the program. And we invite people to just come, relax. We'll be using Kumo Space. I don't know if you're familiar with it. We'll give some more details at the end of the presentation today. It's interactive, it will be interesting, it will be new, and it will really break up what we've done in Zoom and Teams. So hoping to see you guys all there at the Hangouts, and looking forward to meeting all the wonderful people here. So with that, I'll hand it over to Tim for the next item.
Great, thanks for that, Dominic. And maybe this is your first Datathon, and maybe there might be a little bit of uncertainty around what this is all about. Anything that ends with a thon can sometimes be a little bit intimidating, like a marathon. But just wanted to let you know, these are fun events, and people actually do survive. So we want to spend some time to hear a survivor's story. And in fact, it's actually a great story. So Jing Wen is working as a machine learning developer at AltaML. She's also a valued member of the Untapped Energy community. Jing Wen not only participated in last year's Duck Datathon, but was the winner of the learning competition. She would like to share her stories, which I'm convinced you will find very inspiring, so that you too will have a great experience in this year's Datathon.
Great, thanks. Hello, everybody. My name is Jing Wen. Very nice to meet you virtually today. And I'm very excited to join our 2021 Geothermal Experience Datathon this year. Many thanks to our event organizer and generous sponsors. Special thanks to Tim who introduced me and Christine for inviting me to share my stories. I participated in our last year Duck Datathon competition and successfully completed a learning track using DataCamp and was placed the first place in the learning competition. So I wanted to share with you about a few tips on how I maximized my experience. It might be a good reference for you as well. I think I will divide it into 2 parts, the technical part and the networking part. As for the technical part, I strongly encourage everyone to make time for the learning session, because not only you will find the content to be well organized and informative, but also you will get to see a professional guide you through a topic in detail, one of the most effective way to learn is to learn from experienced professional. So learning the ideas, how they think and approach a problem, and the skills that they use to solve the problem will be very beneficial to you in the future. Because it will give you an idea how to approach the problem, and you will find it to be very helpful. Please note that there's no such thing as stupid questions. So if you have a question, that's very good. It's a perfect opportunity for you to reach out and discuss with the experienced professional. So no matter our experience level, we're here to learn. Take your time and explore all the topics that you're interested in. You may even discover a different side of you in the end. Not to mention that all the skills you learned can be applied to the GTX project in the end. It's a very nice way to legitimate your technical skills and presentation skills, and you will be surprised at the end how much you have learned in the session. So besides the learning session, make use of the 2 months premium access to DataCamp website. The online learning website would be very helpful. That's where you can find and practice your programming skills to better serve you in solving problems. So the content is well organized, and some difficult concepts or series guides gets breaking down to small sections. So it's easier to digest and understand. You can learn efficiently, quickly, and at your own pace. So if you're new to data science or find it's a bit stretched to understand programming concepts, or simply want to practice, just give it a try. That's all about the technical part. So for the networking part, I encourage myself to reach out to as many people as possible. It may get intimidating in the beginning, but it's okay. I assure you that most people you talk to will be so approachable and so patient. So I encourage everyone to take the initiative to talk to people and to learn from each other. This way we can grow by lifting each other up, and we will be happy for ourselves as well. So how do we go about it? So I would say just to take initiative, invite people for coffee chat, or if you have questions, come prepared with questions. Be yourself and be kind and be sincere, just as simple as that. And that's how I started connecting with people. So if I can do it, you can do it too. So I got inspired from last year Datathon and decided to pursue a career in this field. And now I got an internship working as a machine learning developer at AltaML. I think life is a long journey, and it's never too late to start on things you're passionate about. So please take your time. All you needed to do is to get started. So thank you for your time. I hope you find my experience are helpful to you. And most importantly, I wish everyone good luck and enjoy this Datathon event. That's what I wanted to share for this evening. I will pass it back to T.
Wonderful, Jingwang. Oh, such amazing words of encouragement there. And really great to hear about not only your experience last year, but how this has led to steps to where you are today. So thanks for sharing that. Now we have a chance to hear about the problem statement, the data set, and also the rules of the competition itself. So I'd like to hand the time over to Pushpesh.
Hello, everybody. Thanks, Tim. Hello, everybody. I'm Pushpesh Sharma. Jingwang actually inspired me a lot. All of a sudden, I'm super excited about Datathon and collaboration. So I'm volunteer with the SPGCS Data Analytics Study Group, and here I'm representing the data set team for the GTX 2020. And I hope you will have a lot of questions after this section, and I'll request you to put it on the Q&A chat. So we'll try to answer all of them. And so the key parameter to evaluate the economic feasibility of any potential geothermal resource is the temperature. And accurate temperature measurement is essential for proper prospect evaluation. So temperature measured while drilling is actually lower than real bottom hole temperature, because you have drilling fluids, you have production fluid interaction. So the temperature that you measure while drilling is usually lower than what it's really supposed to be. So in GTX, we want to tackle that problem. And in the problem, we'll have two different sections. One will be quantitative and another will be qualitative. So quantitative part will focus on estimating true formation temperature using well logs, log temperature measurement, well header information. Well header will include mud weight, times in circulation, casing information. And the metric for judging will be the RMSE, the root mean square error between the real and predicted temperature. For the qualitative part will build up from the quantitative part. So once you have your quantitative measurement done, you will create a basin temperature model. And once you create the basin temperature model, the next part will be to evaluate geothermal potential for that basin. So it can be either converting the existing oil and gas well into a geothermal well or drilling a new well. So the best case for this part will be, which will incorporate both technical and economic parameters and create a best case scenario for the basin development. Can we go to the next slide? Okay, so we'll provide the data for two basins, one in US and one in Canada. All the wells in the data set will be vertical or deviated well. There will be no horizontal well for this competition. The data will include well logs in digital form. So you'll have LAS files, which will have well logs such as gamma ray, density, and sonic logs. Then we'll provide you formation top information, which will be useful for various purposes. And then wellheader information. Wellheader information, if you're familiar, it will have basic information about the well, such as let long, when it was drilled, when it was completed, when it started producing. And in addition to that, it will have well dimensions, which is very critical for geothermal development. And it will also have times in circulation. So you will get the time when the temperature was measured. So that will be important to predict the real temperature, wellbore temperature. In addition to that, we'll have temperature logs, and we'll also have well production data. And there are various ways you can use the well production data, but one of the ways will be to do decline curve analysis and just have the age of the well, and that you can use for qualitative part of the competition. One qualifier here will be the data will be only provided for the purpose of this competition, and then all the participants will need to sign an NDA to access the data. And data is provided from the courtesy of TGS, who is our data sponsors. Can we go to the next slide? So these are the rules. So the goal of this competition to promote collaboration. So we'll insist on having at least 2 people in your team and no more than 7 people in your team. So the Slack group that we created will be useful for collaborating with networking with people and creating a team. If you already have a team, that's good. If you don't have a team, that's actually better, because you can find a lot of networking opportunity like that. So go to the Slack and then interact with different people. Plagiarization, obviously there is no we will not encourage any plagiarization. You can learn from existing resources online, but just don't blindly copy anything. And just you can use open source code, which is available online on GitHub, but we'll encourage you to be as original as possible. Frameworks will prefer all open source frameworks, and also the frameworks that will be provided as part of the competition. If you're bringing some commercial framework, that will not be a even opportunity for other candidates, so we won't allow any use of commercial software or other framework which is not accessible to everybody in the competition. The workflow, codes, and presentation that we prepare as part of the GTX will be released as open source. Everybody will have access to it. So you have to, this is something that we want to encourage in the community, to be more open, more sharing. So this will be a very critical part of the competition. SPE and GTX sponsors, we have no claim over the intellectual property generated during the event. So it will be open source, but we are not going to have any licensing for SPE or GTX or any sponsors. It will be your own property, but it will be open source. As I mentioned again, the participant will have to agree to a data sponsor rule, and they will have to sign an NDA before accessing the data. So social media disclosure is just for you to agree that we'll use the recording of the event, some pictures of the event, and in the various social media platform to promote the event and promote the future events. So that's a very common social media rule. The best rule of all is the SPE and GTX committee reserves the right to change the rules at any time. So
I came back to chat about this survival guide quickly. There's going to be information, references, and documents that you're going to be provided with during the course of the event, and there will be instructions and helps to find those information where you need. On top of that, we try to consolidate all this information into one document for your convenience, so you would be able to actually go and see, find what you're looking for, and actually access that through the information there. Also, we prepare this document in sections so that it's easier to navigate through for your convenience as well. So let's just get to it, and then quickly go over the headlines of the sections, headers of the documents for you if you want to take a look at it to see what you can expect. After introductions to GTX, the geothermal energy technologies, and the event itself, then there's going to be the problem statement, which is the problem that is for you to solve given the data. And open source licensing is another thing that we wanted to have your attention on it, because we're going to be using open source tools, and our results from this competition will be provided to community and be shared with them as well. So it is important that we follow the open source licensing agreement. The references will be provided in that document. Bootcamp is not mandatory, but it's very important and highly recommended to attend, because with all this information and learning opportunities that have been discussed earlier, the information about the boot camps, the calendars that you might need to actually check for attending those events, also it will be provided in this section. Pushpesh mentioned about the competition rules. For your convenience, we also added in this document for your reference as well. Submission procedures and the rules also will be discussed in this document. Just to mention that this is a live document, so it's going to be updated as we go through our competition and challenges. So please visit that regularly when you can. The reason I mentioned that is because when you go and check the sections in this document, not all of them are 100% complete as of now, but it will be. There's going to be, excuse me, a model performance metric and a scoring criteria also provided in this document as well. Communication and networking tools, we all are aware of the importance of the communication and connecting with our fellow peers to be able to successfully go through the challenges like this. So Slack will be one of our platforms to actually help our participants to communicate. Also will be a platform for reaching out to our organizers as well, and the instructors as well. And the key dates that we just went through earlier also are provided here for your reference. And also, least at the last, but also important, is the place or where you can find the data sets for your analysis that you're going to be using for. We're going to be providing you with the information about how to access the log version of this document in the cloud, and you'll be updated on that one as well. Thank you all very much.
Great. No, thank you for that, Karang. And hopefully you can see that there's all the information that you've heard so far will be containerized in this. So do make sure that this is part of your Datathon experience kit, and it will be shared with all those who have registered for the event. Okay, so I totally get it. I think for the last 40 minutes, you've just been bombarded with a lot of information. Thank goodness that we are recording this session so that you can access it afterwards and fully digest it. Maybe now this is a good time to maybe have your brains change gear a little bit. I'd like to introduce to you Sheldon. Sheldon attended the University of Saskatchewan to receive a degree in computational science, and soon thereafter began his career at Shell Canada. Sheldon is currently the Manager of Advanced Analytics at Suncor Energy. Now, the last 30 years or so for Sheldon have been a learning adventure, from punch cards to applied artificial intelligence, primarily within Calgary and the region, spent mostly within the oil and gas industry. And during this time, he's had to continually reinvent himself in various roles, both as employee or in contract positions. Now, one thing that you'll learn about Sheldon is that he's very passionate about many things, and particularly the topic of data and people is near and dear to his heart, as the many aspects of unlocking potential can lead to generating greater value. Now, for fun, Sheldon runs about 2 marathons a year. Even I wonder how that is in this current pandemic situation. And he also enjoys backcountry canoeing. So having completed a few bucket list runs, which includes Boston, New York, Chicago, and Berlin, his goal is to complete the remaining 2 of the big 6, which is Tokyo and London. I want all of you to give a warm virtual welcome to Sheldon as he speaks to us about analytics as a team sport with a focus on the players. Thanks for being with us, Sheldon.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Tim. It's really a pleasure to be here today. Really looking forward to what your Datathon is gonna provide, and all the learning that you're gonna have, and the relationships that you're gonna develop, and the networks throughout this time. So without further ado, we're going to drill into what I call analytics as a team sport. So it's a fun little analogy I'm going to use, and it should help at least put some context behind probably what you're going to be doing the next few weeks, and how you might want to just think about things a little bit differently. Specifically, we're going to drive into what I call focusing on the players today. So, Tim mentioned a little bit about myself. I'm not going to go into any more detail about that, although I do have lots of different passions, and data people and running marathons and backcountry canoeing happen to be part of that. A little bit about the company I work for. So I do work for Suncor Energy, and our operations do include oil sands development, upgrading, offshore oil and gas production, petroleum refining, product marketing under what's called Petro-Canada. In Canada, you might have seen that service station around. We do have Canada's largest ethanol facility, and we do have interest in wind farm operations. Just to address a few questions I had at the last time I presented at YYC Datathon, was, you may have heard about this thing called Suncor 4.0. So I'll just talk, briefly about it. We sort of view Suncor 4.0 in this framing. If 1.0 is that first oil sands development, our sort of entry into that, and 2.0 is becoming publicly traded, growing, thinking about technology advancements, sustainability, and third is the sort of an integrated model, the sort of the merger of Petro-Canada, Suncor into an integrated company. Then think of 4.0 as focusing on these 4 different areas, and we'll talk about why that, why that merges into an analytics discussion. Certainly, we are purpose-driven, contributing to society to make sure it's clear. We actually, people do understand what it is that we're trying to do. Definitely people-focused, data-informed, and technology-enabled. And I think you probably see at what we call advanced analytics, or analytics, hitting on each of those particular pieces. So it's extremely fun right now as part of the advanced analytics group at Suncor, sort of tapping into each of these particular areas. So some of you may have heard me talk a bit before about analytics, this concept of analytics as a team sport, and I think you may have heard, may not have heard, a proverb that I've heard before, an African proverb that says, if you want to go quickly, go alone, and if you want to go far, go together. So I would submit that the breadth and depth of knowledge and experience required to tackle any of these analytics problems, this problem that you're that you're all sort of focusing on in this competition that you're set to do of substantial value will require many people of varying backgrounds, knowledge, experience, and skills. Analytics is a team sport. It is not a single player game. And I think if you look at, it doesn't really matter what team sport, you might have in mind, whether it's baseball, hockey, football, any other game, there's, the fundamentals are the same. You need coaches. Coaches are going to be accountable for the success of the team. You're going to need refs. You're going to need refs to hold, the team accountable to the rules and keep that game moving. And they will influence the outcome of the game through key decisions. Fans, man, do we need fans that are passionate about the sport, the team, and its players, and they're going to drive the demand for, the financial success of your sport and hold the team accountable for their performance. And the players, and this is sort of what I want to drill into, in the next few minutes. I actually see a virtual room full of players right now. Some of you who may be curious into what this game's all about and want to learn about that, and maybe others who are full-fledged practitioners. So let's just dig into that player side of it. I think you can understand that at any level you have a roster of athletes that play the game with skill sets and positions that complement each other. I'm pretty sure I heard James talk about leveraging each other's skill sets. This is exactly who you are. You are these players. You need to understand, first of all, your position and skills that you need for it, and how you complement each other. You certainly need to know the rules of the game, how the game works, and you need to think about practicing. And I'm assuming this is what you're here to do. You're here to practice. You're here to train and get better. And each member has a different role and a position to play in the team. Playing alone, you're just not going to win you're just not going to win the game. But when everyone is playing their position, working towards a common goal of winning, you get that magic. So let's talk about learning the positions. Now, quite frankly, there's tons of sources, many sources out there to figure out what roles that are required to successfully develop, build, and sustain analytics products, because that's what they are. These are analytics products. And when you look at these common elements, I would suggest you're going to look at 3 basic categories: technology and data, analytics and design, and business subject focused skills. So looking at sort of those particular areas, let's just break it down a little bit. Technology and data skills. So, we're talking about cloud computing, data platforms, data ingestion, integration, data pipelines. So think in terms of those particular concepts. And for analytics and design skills, this is the application of stats to real world problems, reproducible research, machine learning algorithms, machine visualization, and UI UX to describe what happened, predict what might happen, and then to optimize, based on that, to tell a compelling story that leads to action. And finally, you're going to need business skills. You're going to need to understand the value in solving a particular challenge, the process that created observable data, its quality, and the workflow changes that you're going to need to unlock the value with these new insights that you generate. So all of these 3 areas are absolutely critical. And quite frankly, what I found is organizations may still be seeking the unicorn. But you know what? Unicorns aren't in abundance, I would suggest. And those may aspire to be a unicorn. But I think organizations are definitely recognizing, at least Suncor is that unicorns don't scale. Really hard to scale a unicorn. So we need to really go back to the basics and really understand the positions. And it's this collaboration of this that's actually makes the progress. After you would take stock of the different career paths available to you. Take stock of the existing skills that you already have. Do not throw away the years of experience and skills that you have built up. So acknowledge it, assess them against the new capabilities that you're going to require. Take a test on DataCamp if you want to be able to do an assessment, and to thine own self be true. Take stock of the passion that you have. And by the way, just a heads up, if you're really not into data, either gathering it, cleaning it, analyzing, utilizing it, probably is going to suggest a different sport for you. In the new paradigm of developing analytical insights, product teams understand that playing with fancy algorithms is actually the fun part. They inherently know that the hard work is in the business and data understanding. It's in the preparation, exploratory data analysis, way before you attempt to model something. And this is the mainstay of analytical product development. Quite frankly, just recently I've heard quite a bit from Andrew Ng from his, it's called From Model-Centric to Data-Centric AI, who's really helping spread that message that data has been and should continue to be a huge focus of any analytical product development. As important as each element of your process is in creating the product, you need to accept that the success of your team will be on your ability to seek, to understand, collaborate, apply your skills, communicate, and of course be open to leaving conventional wisdom at the door. Just something I had heard that stuck with me in the past. I once heard a geriatric doctor of octogenarians to centenarians, so like of 80 to 100-year-old people, say, "I have no overweight patients." And I thought, wow, okay, well, so what does it mean to be able to get into that age bracket? And in the same way that I thought of that, I would suggest to you that I have not seen successful analytical products be developed without using an agile mindset. And by the way, if you haven't read the Agile Manifesto or Scrum by Jeff Sutherland, I'd certainly suggest you do so, because analytical insight development requires fast-paced iteration that develops non-deterministic products. Some of you may know that I enjoy running, but I have not always actually been a runner. But what I did learn quite early on is that you don't learn to run by reading books on running. You learn this by getting the formal learning, getting some coaching, and running. And I'm assuming that's, for some of you, that's why you're here today. And I do commend you for it. Wow, this opportunity to boot camp, to sort of learn it, to be working with a team of people that, have a mix of experience and skills. And some of you could be easily, coaches and mentors, and some are now going to be coming up and learning what this is all about. Huge opportunity for you to sort of build in, what we call at Suncor the 10, the 20, and the 70, which is that formal learning, the coaching pieces, and the experiential, the applied learning. I would suggest that you accept it's going to hurt. Training is not, training isn't without its, challenges for sure. And I would, there's a game that I would suggest you might want to play. And you play, it's called What Am I Willing to Give Up? It's called the What Am I Willing to Give Up game. And certainly if you have a partner or family, then you probably want to play it with them. Because if you're really truly thinking about, getting into this new game, being a player of any repute, you really have to consider what is it like. And I know there's, I recognized a few names on here, and I can tell you, some have gone into, sort of this realm of being a player. Are you willing to give up your weekends? Are you willing to give up your evenings for this additional learning? Or, what is it that you're willing to give up? And then recognize what it's going to take. Do certainly break it down when it gets tough. So mentally it can get really, really tiresome. I suspect those that are taking courses, maybe they're masters in data science, they're taking their courses, they're working jobs during the day, they've got families, it can get overwhelming. So So do sort of use whatever tricks you have at your, at your available, availability to apply this, right? Break it down mentally. You don't have to complete 2 years of coursework in one day. You only have to do today's assignment. So break it down. Do keep your heads up, right? Awareness of your environment and those around you. And if you don't, you're going to get smacked. So keep your head up, come up for air, assess what's going on. How are things working? Are things working out with your family, with your studies, with your training, whatever that is. So don't get too heads down that you're not able to keep your heads up a bit. Man, you have a whole room of people here that are going to come together, and I would suggest ask for help. Like for those of you who need it. I think I heard somebody say there is no dumb questions, and it's absolutely true. Play the newbie card. Say, I don't know what this means. Like, what does this mean? What's the impact? What do I need to know? So definitely ask for help from your teammates. You'd be amazed at how many people are willing to offer help and give you their help and ideas and to sort of get you over perhaps an obstacle that's in your way. Certainly. There is something to learn from the wins and the losses, and I'll talk a little bit about the F word, and everybody knows about the F word, right? So the F word is failure, and I would say that if we were all successful 100% of the time, well, we wouldn't need to train, so we all know that that's impossible. We're not successful 100% of the time. Failure is not fun, I can tell you that, but it's certainly fundamental to your progress, to be able to progress and learn and sort of hone your skills. It's just going to be a key characteristic. So be okay with that. Recognize that it's actually not a failure if you learn from those losses and be able to apply that the next time. Now, just a word to those who are looking to be drafted, right? Those who are looking for a team, or hey, like what should I be doing? How can I get in? How can I play this new game? How can I be a player? Just a few considerations. Certainly look for teams. Look for teams, that are a right fit for you. So you are going to be developing skills. That's why you're here. You're going to be developing skills. You're going to become somebody who wants to get drafted. Make sure you're going into a team that actually you fit into, not just because you can get a job, but because that job is right for you. That company is willing to invest in you, and you're willing to invest as well. So just make sure that you're considering that as you look at teams that are trying to draft you. Think about how you can make a contribution to that team. Is this the right team to join where I'm at in my particular maturity and where I'm developing? And will they help you grow as a player? So, consider that contribution, that you can make, and also help to help you grow actually as a player as well. So to those of you who are already playing, so I'm just talking to those players who you know who you are. You're probably already in a job. You might have already had this title of data scientist or data engineer or visualization analyst or translator, whatever positions and titles your company uses. So it's extremely rewarding to help others achieve the goals that they have set for themselves. So think about others, and I would say, commit to giving back to the community. You've got a great organizing committee here. Think of the work that they've put into hosting this particular event for your benefit, right? They understand, that it's actually rewarding, and they're now giving back to that community. They're paying it forward. Perhaps what's been given to them, they're paying it forward to you. So think about that. Think about who's contributing to your success, and start doing the same. Give some of that back for the betterment of the community. And I would suggest you can prioritize your contribution maybe over completion. So sometimes we're like, think about just, I'm able to complete this and that, but but maybe think about what have you been able to contribute? How are you inserting yourself, contributing to somebody else's goals or life or sort of lifelong learning that they want to go to. So just a word for for you who are playing and already a pro. And finally, just some closing thoughts, for you to take away. So one is, what does success look like for this Datathon event? So what does success look like for you? What does this success look like for your team? And what about this whole community of teams? So really think about that. Like before you start all the learning and data, like what does that look like? How can you frame it? What will it look like differently for you to come out this event successful? Second, and I'm stealing this from somebody at the YYC Datathon, Tim, but we are the story we tell. So what is the story that you want to tell? Like, what story do you want to give to your kids or your relatives or peers or others that you might not even know of in 5 years' time about how you went to this Datathon? And it was great to hear a story of your previous Datathon winner, and that's her story. And it was an amazing story to hear how she used this Datathon event to get into Alta ML as an intern, and now she's embarking on a new career, and that's hugely exciting. So think about that, like what story it is that you want to tell, and start making that story yours. And that's all I have, Tim.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Sheldon. We're so grateful to be inspired by your story as well. And I think you've challenged us to think about the idea of pivoting. Oftentimes we hear about pivoting our careers, moving away from, say, one area of practice to the other. But in many ways, you've challenged us to actually pivot our mindset. A lot of times we think of the word failure. Maybe we've conditioned to think of it as a thing that limits us. But maybe we should think of it as, how does it actually expand us? That by failing, by having gained more experiences, that we are now better off to search for the solution. So thank you so much for that, Sheldon. So grateful for you to be here. Also grateful to Suncor, who is supporting this event. And so speaking of supporters and sponsors, we do have a number of sponsors that we'd like to recognize. And so maybe at this time, I'd like to hand it over to James.
Hi, everyone. James here again. Just to reiterate with Tim, thanks, Sheldon. I think your message of analytics as a team sport provides kind of the perfect framework and context for this event. Along a similar thread, the event itself has only been made possible through collaboration between a lot of different organizations. SPE Calgary, Untapped Energy, SPE Gulf Coast Section. So I want to take a moment to recognize, the many partners who have been amazing in their efforts to support us. First of all, DataCamp has been on board right from the beginning, and it's one of the top online course providers. They've helped over 1,600 companies and countless individuals throughout their personal learning journeys. Suncor, as just spoken about, is the largest energy company in Canada, and as Sheldon alluded to, is also very highly active in the adoption and integration of digital technologies throughout its operations. Petro AI is a data science platform provider who has generously provided prizes and support for our event. And their platform really helps engineers and data scientists working on a range of different applications from subsurface to completions. TGS, as mentioned before, is our data provider. They've really come through to put together a quality data set. And, as a leading data intelligence provider, they have extensive data libraries spanning not only kind of oil and gas, but the geothermal space, which participants will be working on. And they even extend to, things like carbon capture and even wind resources. Integra Data and Analytics Solutions is another kind of growing integrated data science platform provider. And they provide, sophisticated yet easy to use tools. And you'll see some of the workshops that they're providing just how easy it is to integrate, these tools into your workflows. The SMU Geothermal Lab, they've really provided a lot of subject matter expertise in framing the problem, as well as connections to other organizations involved in this event. So I want to thank them for their contributions and their continued support. ITIQ, they provide high quality resources for both clients and candidates, and this includes specialized assessment tools to help people find the right fit. And they've generously provided, an opportunity to have a one-on-one conversation with the founder of their organization. Isaic is an up-and-coming organization which provides infrastructure and high-performance computing capabilities, helping to accelerate the growth of kind of SMEs within Alberta. They're actually providing us very specialized and interesting workshop that leverages their kind of high-performance computing capabilities, which is something that also differentiates the workshops and boot camps of this Datathon versus others. So finally, Ever, when we talk about kind of geothermal, Ever is an exciting and fast-growing energy company which is focused on developing and demonstrating innovative geothermal technologies. So together with Business on Camera have generously lent their support to this event. So just to wrap up, once again, I'd like to thank each of our sponsors. And with that, I'd like to hand it back over to the panel.
And even if you have questions after this kickoff, that's not a problem at all. There's always ways to contact us. I do see that a lot of people have now joined our Slack channel, which is great. That's one way to reach out to us. Do register. After hearing tonight's details, hopefully you're convinced that this is a valuable investment of your resources, of your time. That this event that's happening is quite special. Again, we do recognize that we do live in a very strange time right now with the pandemic and also its impact on a lot of the supporting economies. And so if you are finding yourself in a bit of a bind, but really want to participate, we don't want that to be a barrier. So there are scholarships available. Just send a quick email to info@untappedenergy.ca. And there are resources available to ensure that you can participate in this event. And so I guess with that brings us to the end of this particular event. So delighted that you have joined us today.
And thank you all very much. Have a pleasant evening. Have a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.